Hello, everybody. It's Mark Yagi. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another weekly market pulse. Here it is, 1:15 on August 14th. Hope you're doing really well. We've got a green market in store, and hopefully you're taking advantage of it, not being chickened out by sitting on the sideline. And we just never know which way they're going to go. But let's talk about it here. So we've got this green market. It's been green for 8 days. That's the overall market. It is rocking and rolling. So, uh, you know, you've got to respect it when it's green, because when the markets are trending higher, 70% of the stocks are trending higher. And if you look at your watch list, it's probably mostly green. Probably might be a couple little reds in there, but right now, mostly over the last week, it's been basically green. All right. So that's kind of what we've got. All right. So the Dow Jones Industrial, same story. The QQQs, even the QQQs who are laggards, are now off the bottom and solidly green here for 7 days. And the SPY. So using this market timing system that we have in our cash flow IQ program, it's telling you essentially we are green. Green means go. Even it says it right here, full go, right? So we've got all kinds of green lights on the screen. So you gotta respect it. The volatility index, if you look at it, it is now down, kind of near record low levels. And what that's telling us is that panic has come out of the market and it's going lower. It's, you could see it's in rare air here, right? The lower it goes, the more money comes off the sidelines. Look, my theory is this. A couple of weeks ago on Friday night, we announced, the US being we, announced that we were going to bail out Japan. And bailing out anything means money comes to the table. Who's going to come up with the money? Well, in theory, we sold our euros to fund the yen. Okay. But that put pressure on the euros, and basically we ended up kind of messing with ourselves because we ended up getting a worse price because we were putting pressure on the euro market. But to the extent that that worked, and it didn't work, by the way, if you look at the yen, it's back kind of near the levels where we intervened. We have to give them more money because now we're standing behind the yen. We're standing by the country of Japan to make sure their currency doesn't collapse. And if we're doing that, that means we're printing money. When they print money, guess who pays for it? You and I. Whether it's taxes, which right now taxes are kind of ebbing, right? Or flowing. I don't know which way it goes, but taxes are kind of down because nobody's really talking about increasing taxes. So where's the tax increase hitting us? Well, I just saw a post on X that said Waffle House charges $22.19 for like their big meal, their one with the bacon and the eggs and the whatever and the ham or whatever it is. And it used to be about $6 like 10 years ago or so. So that's not inflation. That's super inflation. So we might think our taxes are going down, but we pay every single day with the prices at the grocery store, with the prices of cars, with the prices of housing, which are stabilized or going down right now. But in general, we pay with our pocketbooks. That's a tax, right? And so that's why these markets are melting up. That's why assets are starting to get a bit of a bid, like gold and silver, maybe even Bitcoin. Who knows? You can't predict that one. It's a little bit tougher. But that's money printing. And we can go on about our lives and ignore the money printing. But if you got $1,000 sitting in your bank account, next year it's going to only be able to buy $900 worth of goods this year, right? In today's money. So that causes time preference, right? It causes us to go out and spend our money now rather than putting it away. Because if you save, you're not getting anything. It's eroding. All right, enough of that. But yeah, I want you to understand, as you watch these markets, the markets are not going up. We are devaluing our dollar significantly. I saw today that July had the biggest deficit, 400 something billion dollars, biggest deficit we've ever had, meaning we're spending way more money than we're taking in. Where's that come from? Well, it either comes from our taxes or it comes from inflation. And inflation only comes from one place, money printing, because it's a fiat debasement trade and the denominator is declining. All right, let's keep going. The Dow Jones Transportation Average is trending up. You can see it. That's telling us that people are buying goods, because when goods are moving around the country, around the world, The Dow Jones transports catch a bid and they go up, and that's good for the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which we have seen. It's green for, I think, 11 days. NVIDIA broke above this little detrending line, and it's now heading to this breakout area around 234. It's got a lot of work to do, frankly, right? But at least it's trying. It's above the 50, the 200, the major moving averages that I have here, and it's above this descending trend line. So it is trying. It's actually moving into a breakout point. If it gets there with volume, and we got earnings coming up, so be careful. In a couple of weeks, we might get a bid on NVIDIA that we haven't had for quite some time. All right, Tesla. Tesla has kind of dropped 10% here on earnings. The earnings were not very good, or they downplayed them, or they're trying to make Tesla cheaper for the merger with SpaceX. Who knows, right? But you could see Tesla opened this morning. This is very interesting. Opened this morning up about $8, and then it reversed it, and it's now bouncing off the 21-day moving average. This has got that big gap from earnings day that it has to get through. That's a lot of selling pressure. So, with a 16 relative strength rating, I don't see Tesla really doing a lot. There are days where it could bounce, and, there are little trends like this, or 297 to 350. That's what Tesla does. But right now, the trend is not in place for an uptrend. In fact, these green parallel lines are still showing that it's safely within a downtrend. SpaceX, speaking of that, is kind of in an uptrend. It's above the two moving averages, the 8 and the 21 that I have on the screen. Last couple of days, it's given back some of the gains that it had. Got almost up to 150. Now it's back to 136-ish. And it's giving it back on light volume, so that's a good thing. When things pull back on light volume, it's generally fairly bullish. It's not like it's doing one of these crazy candles on the way down, like these, for example. Apple doesn't know what the heck it wants to do. It's coming into that September release where they generally release products in September. iPhone 18, everybody's expecting, but I think I got some inside information or whatever. I don't know if it's inside. It's just I read a story from somebody who's got the inside scoop, who says that Apple may bifurcate, fun word, their releases and have release half their new products in September and half of them like in the spring, like maybe April. And what does that mean? Well, rumor has it that they're going to release a iPhone 18 that folds, looks pretty cool, and a few other iPhone 18s, and the rest of the iPhone 18 lineup will be in April. I don't know if the street likes that, if that's leaked out or whatever. I think maybe it has, because this stock is not performing as well as it normally does going into a September product release. It's below the 50. It's below the other moving averages. It gapped down, so it's got a ton of work to do to get back up into these higher areas. So I don't see Apple recovering hugely anytime soon. That being said, you never know. Like in a couple weeks, I could be singing a different tune. But right now, there's no reason to buy Apple. There's not a lot of reasons to sell it, except it's below the 50-day moving average, which not a lot of good things happen when it's below the 50. Alphabet tried to go up here and make a breakout here at 380. Couldn't handle the truth. Came down on volume. Good numbers. But a lot of people are stepping away from Google, and actually Sergey Brin is coming back in, one of the original founders of Alphabet, Google, and he's like taking the reins over. And I don't know, maybe it's too late for Google to have a founder come in and try to change the culture in that company, but it's not as entrepreneurial for sure as they used to be, and they haven't done a good job in AI. So great on the what's it called, the Google Drive side, where they're doing Google services, cloud services. But the rest of the company seems to be, the street is not really digging it right now. All right, Round Hill Memory. This is called DRAM, and this tracks the RAM industry. So it's got, SanDisk in there and all that kind of stuff. And this, hit a high of 81.34 and a low of about half that at 44. And at least it's now catching a little bit of a bid, not quite at the 50-day moving average, but it's trying to get there. And that's going to be a big test for it. At least it's coming up on some decent volume. And so maybe the chip sector is recovering from that debacle of an AI trade over the last 6-7 weeks. SanDisk looks exactly the same. It is hitting the 50-day moving average. It needs some volume, and it needs a close above the 50 to kind of be back in the good graces of the market. And it might get there. It looks like it's getting there. It's still pretty strong, 85 relative strength, down from 99 a couple of weeks ago. Meta platforms, like these guys can't get out of their own way. They released Meta Use Spark, okay? And that is like a Chat GPT or a Claude, but it's free. So they're trying to compete somehow by giving something away for free. I don't know how it works. The more, how do you make it up in volume? Like you sell more free stuff and your revenues go up. So I don't really know what Zuck is up to. I know he's spending a ton of cash, and it's really affecting. You can see, look at their earnings. It's just kind of, they're not as good as they used to be, let's just say, and they're kind of coming down a little bit. Negative earnings, things like that. I don't know if they've lost the plot at Meta, but the chart doesn't look very good. In fact, this, in my mind, is a short, if anything, in this area. We'll see. I'm not short it, but I'm looking at it. If I were going to enter this, that would be the side I'd choose. Amazon, it failed to break out a couple weeks ago. But it came up so rapidly off the bottom. It's going to have a lot of trouble holding those gains when people want to let it get back into the gap and take some of those gains off the table. So I suspect we're going to see maybe a drop down, probably not to the 50-day moving average, but this is all low volume stuff, so it's not that negative. But I think that's a lot of work that it's got to do to get rid of all these people that want to sell that made money from the bottom to the top. You know what I mean? Dell is in the middle of a nice little breakout. This is in a second stage breakout. You got to love this consolidation. It tried to break out once, and then maybe a little, if you can say that's a try. It wasn't a very good try. And then it bounced off the 50-day moving average in here. It's coming up into its second or third try through the breakout. Sometimes that's what they do. And this one has been going into a headwind of, kind of a yellow market a few weeks ago, kind of that sell-off in the chips and the AI thing. But Dell, they're running a good business, and I think it's hard to argue that they're not. Bloom Energy, on the other hand, doesn't look like a particularly constructive chart to me. It's under the 50. Did bounce nicely off the 200, but if it can't get above the 50 and close above there and stay there, I think we could have lower on Bloom Energy, even though energy is really where people are saying, data centers are going to really need all these energy plays. I'm not sure, but Bloom is. Anyway, it's in limbo right now. Let's call it that. GE Aerospace, kind of the same thing. Ran up nicely to 382, ran back up to almost 390, and that's the profit-taking area, and people are just giving back a little profit, but not on big volume. So I'm not worried about this one. Might give us another chance to set up a little cup and handle here. We'll see. Spider Gold shares, like I mentioned before, gold is off the bottom, silver is off the bottom. Trying to build that right side of a nice little base here. That looks pretty good. You know what? I'm probably talking way too much today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you go. How about that? I'm going to wish you a happy, fantastic weekend. We're in a green market, and that means that there's probabilities, in my opinion, of a tailwind of the market. And 70% of a stock's performance comes from the direction of a market. So we want to be bullish during these markets. But we also want to make sure that we honor our circuit breakers, our trading stop losses, so that if we're wrong, and we're going to be wrong a lot as traders, right, everybody? If we're going to be wrong, we're going to be wrong small, and we don't give back any of the gains that we've made. So be very careful about the gains you've made and keeping them on the table, and then taking them off when things start to turn the other way. Thanks for joining me, as always. Have an event, just a quick announcement. I do have an event called the Wealth Accelerator Live. Let me just go ahead and put it on the screen here, if I can put it up there real quick. Wealth Accelerator Live coming up at the end of October, right over the Halloween weekend. So if you're not going to be out trick-or-treating, why don't you come join us down in Clearwater, Florida on the beach? The best time of the year to be there, end of October. It's quiet, nobody's there, and the weather has just broken, and it's not as hot as it normally is. And you're probably going to get some heat up north if you're up north, some cold up north. So you might want to think about that. But here it is, the Wealth Accelerator Strategy Room. Bring your laptop because it's going to be a workshop, an intimate group of people, not a gigantic conference this time. We want to have kind of a private group where we're getting together. We're going to talk about the new AI assistance program that we have called the Cashflow IQ a lot. In fact, you're going to get a copy of that at the event. And then, we're going to be really talking about your plans and the stocks that are going to be moving toward the end of the year and maybe in the beginning of the next year. So hopefully you can come. It's Friday, October 30th through November 1st, Friday, Saturday, and a little bit of Sunday. But we're going to have some beach time and pool time and fun time. You get to meet some peers that do the same thing. And I get to meet you and we get to hang out. So anyway, that's the quick announcement. I will stop now and wish you again a happy, great weekend. And thanks again for joining me. See you next time.